Hello, welcome back to my channel, and today's gonna be a special video because first of all, I haven't done a monthly checkup and reflection video with you, and I apologize for that. And most of the time, well, the reason why I have been delayed because in the last month I was in two different states, two different countries, and I had to move out of my apartment, so it's a lot of work. So I didn't have time to really sit down, and now that I have time to sit down, I'm just gonna share my monthly reflection. So first thing all, yeah, so in the last month, I was just jumping around the Atlantic Ocean. Literally, I made the joke with my friend where if they were to check my location, I am like in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, just on a plane. But I was in the Netherlands for the first part of that month, and then the other half of the month I was in Atlanta, and something that I didn't really plan, I'm back in Boston, where my family's at. So within that same month, I experienced 3 different weather conditions and culture. For example, the Netherlands, it was a little bit chilly, so I still had to wear a puffer jacket, a down jacket. And then Atlanta, it was extremely hot. Well, hot in terms that it was 80 degrees Fahrenheit, which, let me pull up the record and see if it's 80 degrees. Which is around 27 degrees Celsius. Long story short, I was in 3 different places, so it was really hard to sit down and reflect, and I try to make the most out of everything. So I always try to explore the city, so it's just a lot of stuff. Like I filmed those videos, like I filmed Atlanta, and I'm super excited for you to watch that part. But you also know that I got laid off from one of my companies that I worked at during that time. So yeah. And like I said earlier, even though I lived in a short-term rental, which is more of a hotel, moving out, it was still stressful. So I moved everything back into my storage unit, and that's always so stressful. So I'm very grateful that I have family there and they have a car, because we were able to move everything all in one go. Versus if you had a bike or we were using public transportation, it would have taken a lot more time. So although you don't really need a car in the Netherlands, a car or a moving van or a moving company is extremely worth it, and it makes the process much faster. So don't recommend moving out, but moving out is just part of the culture of living in a different place. So yeah, just definitely wanted to say that. Another thing I wanted to talk about is food. So I went to 3 different places, so there's 3 different type of cuisines. And first of all, I'm going to say that I am missing Netherlands food. I'm a sucker for bitterballen and frikandel broodje, so I already missed that. But honestly, that's kind of everything I miss. But I lived in Groningen, and Airbal is like one of my favorite, I guess fast food, but the food where you can go to the hook or like the corner stores like Fibo, and then you can get an Airbal in Groningen. I miss that. It's just a ball with like a curry filling, and they fry it around it and fry it. So imagine eating from that, and then you go to Atlanta, and Atlanta portions are so huge. Southern food is known to be very big, a lot of fried stuff. Versus when you're in the Netherlands, I'm used to cooking kind of a lot more healthier, more greens. So not a lot of frying stuff actually. So that was a big bodily reaction for that. So yeah, but I gotta say, like being in Atlanta, Atlanta has really good food despite being like a landlocked state. Something that I did notice is that my skin got really dry. My lips got really dry after coming back to the US. I don't know what's happening. Like, I've been drinking a lot of water. Maybe the water is different than the US, than the Netherlands, but I technically never really had to chap my lips until I came back to the US, so that is something new. I wouldn't be surprised that there's different regulation when it comes to the tap water, so maybe that's why my skin responds to different ways, or I'm just sensitive. I don't know. Let's talk about portion sizes too. I'm in Boston for a bit, so I'm gonna compare all 3 locations. So Netherlands, the portions are much smaller, but the prices are comparable to the portion size. And I'm talking about places that I didn't go to eat fancy stuff. Southern food, oh my goodness, the portion's so big. I'm pretty sure I ate breakfast and lunch every day. I did not have 3 meals a day. I just had 2 meals, and I was like really full, and I technically have leftovers for the next day. But then I just went to Boston, where the portions are tiny and it's more expensive. So technically, if you're in economics, it's like Netherlands, like food is size is regular, prices is medium, right? Let's use Netherlands as a comparison, and then compare to Atlanta, food is bigger and price is lower. Boston's the complete opposite. Food is smaller but more expensive. And my credit card definitely is feeling the blow when I'm in Boston compared to being in Atlanta. But one thing that I loved about living in 3 different locations in this one singular month is the weather. I am back in Boston, and I think Boston is colder than the Netherlands and Atlanta, but my goodness, I missed the Atlanta warmth already. I miss being able to wear t-shirts and shorts outside when I went to Piedmont Park, which is kind of their Central Park version, but it's like a very big park in, quote unquote, I guess the city of Atlanta. So I missed that already. Like here, I'm like layered up. I didn't bring that much winter clothes because it was not on my bingo card to be back in Boston, but here I am. Yeah, so yeah. And I want to make it short and sweet, this video, but I definitely want to talk about 2 more things. I'm going to answer the question if I'm already starting to miss the Netherlands after 1 month, but I'm going to talk about meeting people. I think in my reflection videos in the previous times, I talk about making friends in the Netherlands, and it's how hard it is because, you know, you work remotely, right? So how do you build a community if it's not through work and maybe going out? So I did go out, either to the aquarium or to the club to make friends or just to meet people. And I noticed that the type of people that I meet in the Netherlands and the type of people I meet in Atlanta was very different. I can't say for Boston yet because I haven't really taken the effort to make friends in Boston, but I think that's kind of the effect when you go back to your hometown, basically. You already have a community there, and right now, as of this moment, I'm just trying to connect with my friends or wait for them to connect to me or connect with me. So, but the people in Atlanta versus the people in the Netherlands, let's compare the same setting, right? Let's talk about a gay bar scene where you can sit at a bar, you know, you can talk to the bartender and you might talk to the people around you, right? So for Americans, most of them are Americans actually in the Atlanta club. I think a lot of them, when they had conversation, they were either flirting, but that makes sense because it's a gay bar, or our small talk related to more about work versus I believe in the Netherlands when I meet people talking to the bar or even talking around, but but just asking more about my personal hobbies and interests compared to straight focus to work or some entrepreneurship that they were gonna do. So that's something I definitely did notice when I was meeting people. However, I met a lot of great people in terms of implants, or I don't know if that's the right word, or because in the Netherlands we would call ourselves expats, like people that came from different countries coming in, and maybe here is like implants is what the terminology people say when they move into Atlanta. I realized I could connect to them the most because I am actually them when I was in Atlanta, and I also experienced that in the Netherlands. So we all understand that we have to be more free and more loose to meet other people because we're trying to do the same thing, and we know how hard it is to build community and make friends, especially as an adult. And okay, I will do more comparisons in another video because I have a lot to say about my experience coming back to America and just trying to live through it again as an adult, but just after living in the Netherlands for over a year and a half. I didn't expect that a lot has changed, like in terms of how I view things, how I communicate things, but how easy it is to jump back to that mindset as well because it's something that you are comfortable with, or something for me I was comfortable with. Okay, last but not least, the question that everyone asks is, am I really missing the Netherlands after being away for, as I post this video, it will be exactly a month since I flew back out to across the Atlantic Ocean into the US. Am I starting to miss the Netherlands? So there's actually some parts that I am missing about the Netherlands. I miss the ability to walk to everything, and that literally means like if I'm in Amsterdam, I can walk to the museum, I can walk to the grocery store, I can walk to a park within like a 20-minute span. I can even take the public transportation because that's reliable. But being in Atlanta and then being in Boston public transportation is not reliable. So then you're like, okay, that sucks. And then Atlanta, surprisingly, the public transportation is reliable in my time there, but you still have to walk everywhere, and there's barely anyone on the sidewalk. Most of them are driving. So I knew that if I was going to be in Atlanta for a longer term, I would need to get a car. And then in Boston, I'm still going to try to depend on the bus. But see, overall, like I'm still not thinking that biking or walking is an option. And that's something I really miss because I believe like walking around in a new city or just in a city, you can see all the nooks and crannies. So yeah, that's it. So I am starting to miss the landscape of the Netherlands and the geography of the Netherlands. I know Netherlands is much smaller, so that's why everything's more congested and just how history works. So yeah, I can't believe it's been a long time since I've been living in the Netherlands. Although I'm not there now, I technically still pay your taxes and all that jazz. So with that being said, I hope you guys had a great March. You know, like as you can see in my videos, it was my birthday, so it was nice to actually celebrate my birthday with my family because last year I was in the Netherlands, so this is great. So that was crazy as well. But I will see you next week, and I will definitely see you sooner than later. The next video will definitely be sooner, my reflection. Even though it will not feel like a month, it will be a month because I have my notebook and it stopped at a certain amount of time of living there. So yeah, I don't even know what I'm saying. I shall see you soon. Bye everyone.